Very cool. Well, you touched on AI. I have concerns about whether what that's going to do. I've been having some online discussions, we would say, with folks where the people who what am I trying to say? The people who disagree with me, perhaps they would look at me and say, "Oh, you're just a Luddite. You probably thought the Gutenberg printing press would change society for the worse, that it would be a disaster." And I'm like, I get that. There's people out there that are just Luddites that are like, no new technology, it's all bad. I'm trying to sort out the good from the bad, and it looks like AI is going to be. My concern is always that it's going to be. There's this kind of a three parts to my concern for a lot of things, but whenever you're is the quality of the change, the quantity of the change, and the rate of the change. And I think sometimes the change is too big. It is of a type that is radically different. It is too much discrete change all at once, and then it is a pace of change that that outpaces our ability to adapt. So I don't know if you have some comments on that in regards to AI.
Yeah. So these are great concerns. These are valid concerns. But what I will say, let's address a few things, right? AI has been around for decades. It's not a new thing that just creeped up on us. It has been around for decades. I've been working with AI for 15 years. I have built solutions in, as I said, healthcare and education with AI and many other industries. So, and if you see that our world has already been sort of, influenced, if not controlled by AI for the last 15 years, ever since platforms like Facebook and Twitter and Google News came out. At the end of the day, these platforms are nothing but AI algorithms, right? So you can see, from recent political sort of moves, even today, even going back to 2014, 2012, 2008, elections and public offices are won and lost using AI, using data, right? So the idea is that now, so earlier, before 2022, before ChatGPT was released, AI and the power of data was used by a handful of people who understood how to use it, what to do with it. And those people became very, very powerful, very, very wealthy. But now it has been passed on to the public now. So the balance of power is now sort of democratized. In that way, it is actually good to have everyone get access to this technology, not just have it concentrate in a few hands, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so now the next thing is the rate of change and the degree of change. I completely agree that this is a huge change, and this is a bigger change that humanity has ever experienced, right?
I feel
Because
yeah.
before this, as a person who who understands human psychology, and same here, we have always valued the intellect of a human being. Now intellect is commodity, because there is, as you said, we cannot compete with the machine anymore. So so the good part of that is that if we are not going to value intellect, what are we left with? We are left with our humanity, we are left with our empathy, we are left with our ability to connect with each other, that a machine will never be able to replace. So if you look at it from that point of view, we are actually going into a better society where people will value expression, people will value connection. If you look at history, the Renaissance period and some other periods where art, literature, and those type of things were valued more than anything else, we will be moving into that type of a society, in my opinion. And now the final thing is rate of change. Absolutely, this is going to catch a lot of people by surprise, and a lot of people will need to be upskilled. Some people will be left behind, but this is the sort of the technological sort of a breakthrough that we have always anticipated. We knew it was coming. Even if you go back to 1950s, there have been sci-fi movies imagining this juncture, and here we are. So it's not to say that we were not given a heads up, but now is the time for people who can bring about positive change with this technology. That's why I'm on this podcast and this show with you to share what are the positives about artificial intelligence, so that people can actually start to embrace it and not get left behind, right?
Oh
So
yeah.
the idea is to move away from misinformation, move away from fear, because frankly speaking, the fear itself is created by AI. I mean, these news cycles are generated by AI, and so they are going to bubble up the
Yeah.
news which are more sensational, right? But I'll give you a quick example of that. A lot of people I talk to, they say, "Oh, Elon Musk is saying stop AI,
Mm,
ban AI." So I'm like, "Oh, okay. Do you know how he became so rich? It's
right.
because he started a bunch of AI companies.
Yeah.
His cars are, it's all AI. I mean, self-driving cars. What is it? It's AI. And those self-driving cars, they actually killed people, literally killed people,
Hmm.
because when the technology is nascent, it's in infancy, you have to test it. And the other thing is, he was actually on the board of OpenAI, which developed ChatGPT, and then he resigned, saying Tesla is developing more powerful AI, so it will be a conflict of interest, which is true. Like all his companies, SpaceX and all that, they have very, very powerful AI algorithms. So to say that, Elon Musk is saying stop AI, you have to look under the covers and see, okay, maybe he meant something else. Maybe he meant this AI is useful, but society is not ready to handle it, or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe he has ulterior motives, like he wants to have competitive advantage. Who knows?
Yeah.
The point is that the the way his point of view is, nobody understands, but we read the news and we sort of apply our own fears, our own judgments based on that. Make sense?
Yeah, for sure. Oh, there's so much great things in there. And what I've been processing is, I wrote down a few notes. I'll get to those too. But the bigger theme seemed to be that there are perhaps a variety of levels
Yeah,
or layers to what AI actually is. And,
exactly. Yeah.
this is everything from diagnostic AI that you program to say, look at these few things like with a car and tell me if the smog is right or if this is that. And then a machine does the work of
Yeah.
analyzing these things and outputs a result. So it's its own kind of
Yeah.
very extremely limited, insectoid kind of AI.
Mhm.
Way on
Mhm.
the other side is the self-aware Skynet Terminator future where
Yeah.
the machine becomes, and I'd say that's my probably biggest concern. We're maybe way off of that. Maybe it can never happen. Maybe it's something technology cannot do is become self-aware.
Yeah.
But the idea of a machine that starts thinking for itself and has the freedom to decide humanity is a good thing or not, and might have access to power to act on. Now, this, you mentioned the sci-fi stuff, and this has been our concern for not even just the past 100 years. It goes
Yeah.
back to, say, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. It goes back further than that to
Yeah.
2,000-year-old myths and legends about, you know, um, human creators trying to play God and make a golem or a robotic like creature built it out of clay or whatever, imbued with the breath of life,
Mhm.
and it turns on its master. I mean, my biggest concern would be in that idea is that because we are flawed, because humans are flawed, our creations will necessarily be flawed in ways maybe that imitate us, have our same foibles, or with the best of intentions, we're programming stuff that we don't actually know what it's going to do because we can't see the mistakes we're putting
Yeah.
into it. A human's always got
Yeah.
to decide what the machine does, and then the machine will do that, for good or ill. So those are
Yeah.
some of my first thoughts.